Okay, people, we are good to go. We are live. Think that's looking decent. Everything seems to be as it should be. Let's just get this started. So, just bear with me there. There we go. That seems good to go. Right. So, let's talk about boxing episode 3. This has been fun. I've been enjoying doing this because I tell you, people, I never live streamed for ages. Like live streams for me on this channel were like once a month, if even. Literally, they were like once a month, if even. I used to live stream on this channel. Now I'm doing them weekly. I'm actually enjoying doing these live streams. They're actually quite fun. They're not bad. They're not bad at all. So let's talk about boxing. This is episode 3. We're talking about the fights that are happening this week. Got to touch on just several things that I think are, not great in terms of the world of boxing, in terms of what's going on, and just give my 2 cents on everything else. So let's get into this. Now, obviously, I done a video today, and the video I done today was about just basically about Frampton, the opponent who they've gone and announced for him, and yeah, just basically everything else about that. Like that, I'm not at all impressed with his opponent. And truth be told, people, I think that the opponent they've got for Frampton is absolutely shocking. Like this whole card. I mean, I know we're in a situation in boxing where for us to expect a lot in terms of the fights that are getting made, it's just generic kind of stuff like that. It's not great. We're probably not going to get any other massive fights between the end of the year. Probably not anyway. If we see someone like AJ, or if we see someone like Tyson Fury in the ring, it's probably not going to be against anyone necessarily amazing. It's probably going to be against some Joso or some it's a way. We're not going to see any massive fights as far as I'm aware anyway. I don't think we're going to see any of them, but we'll probably still see a couple of big names out there. But these behind closed door shows that we've been getting, I mean, they've just been shocking. I mean, they haven't been good at all. The shows have just been absolutely horrific. It's been pretty much mismatch after mismatch. It's not really been anything to write home about on any of these shows. And I click on BoxRec. I go on to Frank Warren's show here, and people, it's just sad. It's just tragic. It is absolutely just tragic what's going on with this show. It just doesn't look good at all. Just looks like just look like a pure letdown. This show honestly just looks like a complete and utter letdown. And that's sad because we're getting boxing back. We're getting boxing back on TV. We're getting it back. Okay, yeah, it's behind closed doors. It's not amazing, but we're still getting something. But this show here is just, man, it just ain't fun. It just ain't fun. So I'm reading this bill here, right? We've got Troy Williamson against, what's the guy's name? Harry Scarf. Troy Williamson, yeah, he's one of Frank Warren's kind of up and coming prospects. The guy already has a draw on his resume, and he's been in there against guys, really no real names at all to write home about at all. Miguel Aguilera, Arthur Warren, what's that? Yelton Neves, I know the guy. Yeah, he's been in there against nobodies, and he's fighting this Harry Scarf fella, the guy who went 10 rounds with Anthony Fowler. That might actually not be too bad. That might be okay. Because we can gauge where this Troy Williamson is. We can gauge kind of where he is. We've got Archie Sharp versus this Jeff Orfro guy. Again, that's a that's not a great fight. Archie Sharp being touted as a decent prospect. Wasn't that Jeff over? Wait a minute. Oh my God. Well, that just shows how pathetic the golden contract is. And I thought I recognized that Jeff Ofray guy's name. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it looked familiar. And I thought, that's not the guy who fought O'Hara Davis in the golden contract competition. Bear in mind, the golden contract tournament, I should say, is for 140 pounders. It's for light welterweights. So he loses to O'Hara Davis, and his next fight is against Archie Sharp at super featherweight. I mean, that golden contract thing is a load of BS. I mean, it's nothing. You have Dennis McCann, who is a decent prospect. You know, he's 19 years old. He's looking okay. He's not looking terrible. His opponent hasn't been announced yet, so we'll wait and see. I think this card originally had 6 fights on it, if I'm not mistaken. So they've obviously taken one off it. But it's the 2 guys on top of the bill. I'm really just not looking forward to. Got Michael Conlon in there. Michael Conlon, yeah, he's a prospect. He's fought absolutely nobody. And, you know, he's in there against this Safani Takuchi guy. He's French. He's 35, 4-1. He's coming off the back of a loss to Josh Warrington. He was blown out in 2 rounds by Josh Warrington. Josh Warrington, not a noted puncher, nor is Michael Conlon. You would imagine Michael Conlon would be able to win this fight. Fairly straightforward. You know, you would imagine. Can't see Conlon having too much issues with this guy, but you never know. It's not a competitive fight, really, because the guy is he's pretty basic. He's pretty rudimentary, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then at top of the bill, this is the worst. Got Carl Frampton versus Dennis Trainer or Taylor. Just say Trainer. 16-3. Guys, 16-3. Right? He's coming off the back of a win. Oh, even just reading this BoxRec resume, it's just crazy to think that this guy is actually in there with Carl Frampton in the main event. I mean, I'll read his BoxRec here for anyone in the chat. His last fight was against the guy Des Newton, who was 8-13. He won that on points up in Aberdeen. Won it back in February this year over 6 rounds. Before that, he lost to a guy called Julien Ginger, I think is how you pronounce it, 22-3-1. And that was in 2018. So he's nearly 2 years out of the ring before he came back against that Des Newton guy. And before that, he fought another guy called Eddie Doyle, who was 19-4. Stopped him in 7 rounds. This was for a Scottish area super lightweight. Super lightweight. This guy's been fighting at super lightweight. He's coming down in this fight. So that's for a super lightweight title. Fight before that, he was blown out in 3 rounds by James Tennyson. James Tennyson is not a world level fighter. He's probably British level. British/fringe European level. But we'll be general. We'll say European level. So he's blown out by James Tennyson in 3 rounds in 2017, and fought a couple of no-hopers. Fought Jamie Quinn, who I do know I know just as a journeyman. Fought another guy called Andreas. I can't pronounce that guy's name. And he fought another again. Before that, he lost to Ryan Doyle for the British featherweight title. I mean, this is just. I mean, this is a guy who's fighting Carl Frampton. Like, this is who Frank Warren could. This is the best opponent Frank Warren could get in for Carl Frampton on short notice. We're talking about an area level fighter, people. It's seriously, like, I mean, that is just. Boxing's gone, and it's taken a dive the last few months with regards to everything that's been going on. But even still, you would imagine a fighter of Carl Frampton's magnitude, you would at least be able to get him somebody. Like, I remember Ricky Burns when he was fighting on the Bellew Usyk card. I believe he was meant to fight someone else. I can't remember who exactly it was, but I think they had an opponent ready for him, and it didn't happen. So they ended up getting Scotty Cardle. Scotty Cardle, British level fighter, and obviously Ricky Burns beat him. But still, you know, it's not as bad as getting an area level fighter in there against the world. And Ricky Burns, a bit past his best, probably a good bit past his best now. Carl Frampton is still thereabouts. He might not be at his best, but he's not far off it. So, you know, that is just terrible. So you got Cam Boxing here, just recently subscribed to your channel. Love the content. Keep it up. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm glad you like the content. I tried to get a couple of videos out today. Something fucked up with my Mike Tyson video because it wouldn't play for me. And then it started saying that the sound wasn't right. So I ended up having to take that one down. I still have it saved, so I might try and re-upload it tomorrow. But yeah, glad you're liking the content. The content keeps coming. You know, I try and upload as much as I can, as much as the news gives me. You know, when there's no news, you're clutching at straws here. You really are. And that Frank Warren video I done today, where it said Frank Warren and Queensbury have a big problem. That, do you know what the hardest part of doing that video was trying to figure out what I was going to call it, because you have to be very, very careful when you're putting Frank Warren in videos. I was going to actually call it Frank Warren and Queensbury are in trouble, are in big trouble. But then I was thinking, no, this is Frank Warren, and he is not afraid to slap a lawsuit on you, even if you only just talk about things. So I went with the safe option and used the problem. Troll network shout out, Frank Warren can't afford decent competitors for his fighters. Wouldn't be surprised if these fighters are complaining about not being. Yeah, that's happened before. You know, we've heard that before. Fighters not getting paid. I wouldn't be surprised either. Truth be told, I think Queensbury is on its hands and knees. I really do. I can expect a letter soon. Well, I've done videos on Frank Warren before, and I've used similar sounding things. But if I'd said big trouble or something like that, I mean, knowing my look, they probably would have seen it. And knowing my look, I would be the one in big trouble, not fucking anyone else. It'd be fucking me in big trouble, because, you know, I've spoke with Ade about these kind of things, and he got, you know, issues with Frank Warren. I know a few other people who have had it. I don't need that smoke. Definitely not on I've only on 2K subs. I don't need that smoke on this channel. At least not yet anyway. You know, when it gets a bit bigger and maybe I can start, you know, giving as good as I get maybe. But right now I don't need that smoke with Frank Warren. I don't want any of that. He can keep it. I don't need to get sued. So I think very carefully about what I say when I talk about Frank Warren. I remember once before Christmas, I done a video about Tyson Fury stringing Frank Warren along. I actually done quite well. I got, I think, like 5,000 views. But I recorded that video once and I listened back to it and I was like, ooh, there's some things I really shouldn't be saying in here. So I ended up having to re-record it. But luckily, the one that I recorded the second time done quite well. And as I said, it got me something like 5,000 views, which, you know, it's not much. You don't get much money for that, but you'll get, you know, it was something. It gave me a little bit of extra pay at the end of the month. That's one thing YouTube has been seriously lacking. Like pre-lockdown, I don't know if anyone in the chat has a channel and knows, like a boxing channel, and knows what I'm talking about. Like pre-lockdown, fuck, man, pre-lockdown was like, I couldn't believe how like the views were doing, like, and how much the channel was growing pre-lockdown. It was crazy. It was just like every other day, 10 more subs, 15 more subs, a couple of thousand views. I was getting like 1,000 views a day. I was making like well over 100 quid a month. And then lockdown hit, boxing stopped. And not just me, everyone noticed that. It was just like, where's everyone gone? Like, where has all these people gone? Where are they? That was what it was like. That was literally what it's been. It's been getting better. You know, I'm not going to lie, it has been getting better. And the post-fight reviews have definitely helped because they get some good traction. But yeah, damn, it's bad. You know, it's been bad. It's been a tough couple of months, man, on YouTube. That's what, but I'm lucky. I got the Patreon page going now, which is fun. Got a couple of people signed up there, and I'm getting the podcast out weekly. I only do one a week. I'm not like, I'm not as switched on as Hatman. I don't have the time to do 2 podcasts a week anyway. You've got almost as many subs as Fisheye's last card got. Yeah, that doing shit, man. That doing shockingly bad, Fisheye's last card. It wasn't great, truth be told. Like, it was like literally, I watched that fight, or watched that card for that Lyndon Artis fight. I don't watch it for anything else. I didn't want to watch it. It was BS. I was just looking at that and I was like, this is bullshit. I'm not going to watch this for anything, because there was no real good fights on it. The only reason I'm going to watch this card on Saturday is because, basically, just purely because there's some names I recognize on it, and, you know, it might be, you never know, one fight might be more competitive than we thought, but I sure as shit ain't looking forward to this card. I'm definitely looking more forward to Eddie Hearn's card. Definitely looking forward to that. You know, it's not a crazy good card, but it is better than, it's definitely better than, Frank Warren's this weekend. Definitely better. In fact, I'm actually just going to look through this again. And yeah, it's definitely a better card. You've got that Shannon Courtney one against that Rachel Ball. People, I remember when that fight was announced, and I just saw Rachel Ball 5-1 and thought, okay, they've just given Shannon Courtney an easy opponent. She's just going to go out there, do what she needs to do, and then, so be it. A little bit of eye candy. She's nothing to write home about, Shannon Courtney. She's definitely not the best looking girl I've ever seen, but that's what I thought. Well, Mark from Unrivaled said basically go and look up Rachel Ball and see what she's like. She's actually not bad. Like in terms of boxing, she's a redhead. I don't really like redheads, but in terms of boxing, she's not bad. She's not terrible. She definitely seems a little bit more technically sound than Shannon Courtney does. She only lost to an undefeated fighter over in Norway, and that was actually a majority decision. She was doing actually quite well in that fight. So she could cause Shannon Courtney some serious problems. And Shannon Courtney, I mean, Jesus, people, she ain't great. She's okay. She's one of those girls where if I was on a night out and she came up and chatted to me and she said, "Look, I've got a free house," I would, but I'd be getting out of there first thing in the morning. That's one thing I would be. I wouldn't be sticking around for any breakfast. I tell you that. But that's kind of what does Big Dan say? Shannon Courtney has a fanny like a mangled kebab. That is a fucked man. Man. Like a mangled kebab. Oh, mate. I don't want to think about that. Buzzy, he's liking the chat. He likes what's going on. He likes the talking. He likes the comments. Doesn't matter how good she is, I read that too quick. Doesn't matter how good she is, even if she wins, Shannon will get the decision. I hope not. I sure as hell hope not. Give the girl a bit of credit if she wins. She might win. In fact, I wouldn't mind checking the odds on that. And again, I'm going back onto the betting website, but I'm going to try and check the odds and see what Rachel Ball is to win that. Because it might actually be worth sticking a cheeky 20 down on it or something. And it's obviously going to be on points, obviously. I forgot. Oh, yeah, we've Jono tomorrow night. Rachel Ball is 11-10. So 20 quid. Okay, wow. You're only getting like 22 quid profit. What's Shannon Courtney? Jesus. Yeah, she's better odds, or she's the favorite, but she's not a massive favorite. Shannon Courtney, like I said, she's just... I'm going to say eye candy, even though she's not amazing. She's nothing to write home about. And she's the only female, Jesus Christ. She's probably the only female in Britain at super bantamweight. So this is probably going to be at a higher weight because God knows what weight that Rachel Ball one is fighting at. In fact, I'm just going to check it here and just see what weight she normally fights at. Because if Shannon Courtney is the only female in Britain, okay, this is the only female in Britain at featherweight. Okay, so basically, we'll put it like this, peeps. Anyone in the chat will know who the best 122 pounder and the best 126 pounder in Britain is in the female boxing by the time these two girls finish it off. There you go. There's an achievement for both women. We have that John Doherty guy against Anthony Fox. Anthony Fox guy, he's a tricky journeyman, and he's coming off the back of a couple of wins. He's a tricky enough journeyman. He's definitely better than his resume suggests. So that might not be a bad result. That might not be a bad fight. So I thought I already clicked on that, but that might not be a bad fight. Then we have Kieran Conway against that Naveed Mansouri guy. Yeah, both guys, we just need to wait and see how they get on. Kieran Conway is looking decent, very big, massive for 154 pounds. So, but can't punch. Can't crack an egg. So, yeah, we'll see how that fight goes. Fight I'm kind of looking forward to. Although I'm fairly sure I know the results, but I can always hope, is Zelfa Barrett versus Eric Donovan. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I think that fight might be more competitive than people are making it out to be. I just think anyway. I think we might get a more competitive fight than certain people think it would be. That's just my opinion. I don't know. Eric Donovan could go and get absolutely blitzed for all I know. But just from the outside looking in, I think that fight might be okay. That might be competitive. The reason why I say that is I've never really rated Zelfa Barrett. You know, he got beaten badly by, what was the guy's name? Ronnie Clark. He was down heavily in that fight. I don't really rate Zelfa Barrett. And this is his first. This is actually tough. This is his first fight with Matchroom since he swapped over from Queensbury. And, you know, he's in there against Donovan. Donovan was a decent amateur. You know, he was useful as an amateur. So it might not be a bad fight. It might not be a bad fight. Will I pick Eric Donovan to win the fight? No. He's 4-1 underdog. Might be worth sticking a cheeky bet on him. But I'll definitely be going with Zelfa Barrett to win that fight. And then finally, last fight is Felix Cash versus Wellborn. Yeah, like I've seen Felix Cash plenty of times. I don't know. I've not seen anything to write home about with Felix Cash. He's very big for the weight. He'll probably be a good bit bigger than Jason Wellborn. Jason Wellborn's really 154 pounder. But Jason Wellborn's best wins have been at that weight. But I think he's probably seen better days now at this stage. So I reckon Felix Cash will probably beat Jason Wellborn, probably on points over 12 rounds. This is definitely a more competitive fight camp than last week's. Like last week's was not great at all. This one's is better. This one's is better. Big Dan says best 126 pounders Amanda Serrano. Yeah, I was talking about in Britain. So they're literally both girls are they're individuals. So Shannon Courtney is the only 122 pounder in Britain, and Rachel Ball is the only 126 pounder in Britain. So they will literally, whoever wins will literally be the best in Britain at their respective weight because there's no one fucking else to fight. And you honestly, I can't care. I can care more for BT. You really? I thought you said you couldn't care. So you prefer the BT card this weekend? Really? I think that card is an absolute. I just don't think it's going to be competitive at all. You know, I really don't. I can't see that fight being the least bit competitive. Now I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it at all. Don't see it being competitive whatsoever. I just think that they all look like mismatch. We've got Carl Frampton fighting an area level fighter. It's literally Carl Frampton fighting an area level fighter. I just can't see it, mate. Can't see it being competitive. But you know, I've thought that about several cards and I've been proven way wrong. So I could get proven wrong again. Who knows? Speak Your Mind Sports. What's up, G-Man? Shout out. Speak Your Mind Sports. Shout out. I'm good. I'm good. You know, mate, just keeping it going. I'm giving back to the fans, you know, giving back to the fans. I don't do enough of these. I don't do enough of these live streams. So as you can see, I'm episode stamping these live streams now. So they're going to continue. I'll enjoy doing this. You know, I do. I enjoy doing these live streams. They're fun. They're fun. It's a good way to get involved with some of the fans and just to give back because I don't interact with my subs as much as I should. So I'll give them an hour, talk about boxing for an hour, upload it. Don't have one like Friday where I was talking about all kinds of controversial stuff. We'll just keep it as good as we can get. But yeah, I enjoy doing these. I don't know why I didn't do more of these sooner. I honestly don't know. But yeah, that's what I got to say on that. He also asked as well, what's up with Frampton? Oh man, like I was literally just talking about Frampton about 5 minutes before you came into this chat. Frampton is fighting a guy, an area level fighter. He is literally fighting an area level fighter. That's what he's doing. He's fighting a guy who, until February of this year, his last fight was 2 years ago, nearly 2 years ago. He was losing to guys like James Tennyson, not just losing, getting blown out of the water by guys like James Tennyson and, you know, several others. So, who else? Ryan Walsh, he was getting blown out by. He was losing to guys with you know, shit records like 23-3. So, we're really talking about an area level fighter here. And he's in there with Carl Frampton this Friday. And obviously, he wasn't the first opponent, but seriously, If this guy had to have been third or fourth in line. Seriously. And do you know why Frank Warren has this guy fighting Carl Frampton? Because you're going to be paying this area level fighter probably a British level fighter salary, and it's probably going to be more than he's ever got in his whole career. Money. That's why Frampton is fighting this area level fighter, because of money, because Carl Frampton will get paid less than he's used to. But to save this show and to save Frank Warren, he's going to pay this Darren, what is his name, Tainer guy. He's going to pay him absolute pennies, and still probably going to be more than he's ever got in his career. Sadly. It's great you do one every fam. Yeah, I don't, honestly, I don't get enough time. I don't have enough time to do live streams all the time. I try and do them. I do like doing them, but it's just hard. I just don't get the time. And anyone, by the way, Speak Your Mind Sports Talk, go over and check his channel out. He does live streams on his channel. Go and give it a like. G-Man sent you. I always try and share it out, you know, because my channel it's growing. It's growing every day. We're at 2K now, and I'd love to be at 3K by the end of the year. That'd be like that's a goal. 3K by the end of the year, and who knows, maybe by the end of next year, over in London on Sky or something like that. But who knows? That's a dream. That's the dream chasing. Not competitive, a bit like Queensbury Promotions. Yeah. Oh man, that video I done I recorded it last night, but I uploaded today. I felt like I didn't go in enough on how bad Queensbury have it. Literally, I mean, they are struggling. In fact, just to put things in context, right? So I've been reading some of Queensbury's cars they've been putting on. Now, these are the cars that have been, you know, in the BT Sports studio, right? So let's go back. Let's go back to just a couple of the ones he put on last year, Frank Warren did. And let's just look at some of these cards. And these were on BT Sport. These were on Fight Night. So let's go back and we'll see. I'll show you here. This is exactly the kind of cards he was putting on as far back as last year. You know, amazing. So when he put Josh Warrington's last fight on, here's what we had. Now obviously we had a lot more fights on those cards because obviously there was no restrictions. With Josh Warrington against the guy Michael Collins fighting, cannot pronounce the guy's name at all. Really cannot pronounce the guy's name, so I'm not even going to try. He's French. He got blown out in 2 rounds. With Zelfa Barrett against that Jordan McCroy guy. McCroy, who at the time had seen way better days. With Lyndon Arthur against the guy. I remember that fight, actually. That was actually a decent little scrap, to be fair. And Troy Williams against Ben Douglas, a guy who was 2-0. So that's just one example. And that's a poor card. A very poor card. Then we had the card in Birmingham, I should say. Again, with Sam Maxwell, Dennis McCann. You know, these are all really low down the cards against nobodies. We had Lenroy Richards against Lennox Kelly. That was a decent little scrap. Chris Jenkins against Liam Taylor. That was for the British title. It ended in a cut. Sam Bowles against Anthony Cerces. Again, none of these are particularly good fights. But the top of that bill was good. We had Casemiro versus Tete. I was amazed. I really didn't think Casemiro would beat Zolani Tete, but he did. He knocked him out. He knocked him out bad as well. And I was left with egg on my face after that. And then let's just look at some of these other cards that Warren's been putting on. Again, you know, really, really poor cards. You know, when you look at the Daniel Dubois against Richard Latte, you know, you had Lenroy Richards against Tommy Langford. I remember that. That was a horrible fight. And Langford just had nothing left. Sonny Edwards, Zach Shelley, Archie Sharp, Jack Cattrall. I mean, these are just the cards Frank Warren was, but these are pre-lockdown as well. So it's not like you could use the excuse that, you know, oh, well, we're in lockdown, so, you know, you can't get this guy, you can't get that guy. No, these were pre-lockdown fights. And they're still absolutely just rubbish. And I remember like seeing a lot of them Frank Warren shows and just thinking, oh God, this is just going to be tragic. And for a lot of the time it was. You know, it really was for a lot of the time on some of these. And then, actually, wait a minute. Yeah, I remember now. Paddy Donovan, I think, was meant to be on this card on Friday or Saturday, which is Frank Warren's card. But apparently he's off that card. I don't know why. Because too many fights, probably. But that's Frank Warren's card. We've the IFL. I think that's on IFL anyway tomorrow with Jono Carroll against Maxie Hughes. Carroll, who was fighting with, who was he fighting with? Yeah, he was fighting Scott Quigg. He fought Scott Quigg in his last fight, actually, I believe. And now he's back. He's back in the ring. He's chasing the world title. Jono he's not a bad fighter. He's a decent shout, but we still need to. I think he needs to work on his defense. Definitely, I think he just focuses too much on volume punching, and I think when he boxes, he can actually be quite useful. Jono can. So I'll have to wait and see. Enjoy your videos. What do I think of Donovan versus Barrett on Eddie Hearn's undercard? Well, a shout out. Thank you. Glad you enjoy my videos. Right. Eric Donovan versus Zelfa Barrett. I think that it's a good fight. I actually think it's going to be competitive, but I won't be picking Eric Donovan. I think Zelfa Barrett, although I don't particularly rate him too highly, I think that he's younger, he's fresher, and I just think that's going to tell. I think that's going to tell. I think Eric Donovan has fought absolutely nobody at all in his 12 fights. And, they were trying to step him up, before all this lockdown. I think he fought in February. But, again, he's not fought like this level for a long time. Yeah, he was a very, very good amateur, was Eric Donovan. I don't take that away from him. He was a very good amateur. But I can't see him winning. Now, I hope I'm wrong, because Eric Donovan is a cool guy. He's a nice guy, but I just can't see him. I can't see him beating Zelfa Barrett. He'll be competitive, and I think it'll probably go to points, and I think that Zelfa Barrett will get the decision. That's just what I think. I could be wrong. I could be proven wrong. I don't know, but that's just what I think is going to happen. I think that Eric Donovan against Zelfa Barrett. I think Barrett's going to win, but I think it's going to be competitive. Eric will be competitive the whole way through, and Barrett will win probably on points. Yeah, probably on points. Some people are saying stoppage. I don't think we're going to get a stoppage. I think it's going to be on points. So that's what I think about that fight. But yeah, I'd love it if Eric won. I mean, I'd be happy for him. I would. Spot on. Yeah, that was about Frampton versus that Daniel Taylor guy. Yeah, money. That's all it is, mate. Money. Appreciate it, fam. Mark sent you out. Yeah. I mean, me and Mark, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we try and help each other out as well, because a lot of people who've subbed to him that I've said, go over and check out Mark One Rival, and he's very good. He has me on his panel. Pretty much whenever he's streaming, he gets me on the panel, and it'll just be good fun being on those panels. I do like it. I do enjoy it. So definitely happy about that. Shout out to Mark One Rival, and shout out to everyone in the chat. Smash the like button if you haven't already. You love my podcast. Well, thank you, mate. Yeah, I think you're actually on Patreon with me, aren't you? You're one of my Patreons. Thanks for that, mate. Appreciate it. Seriously, really do appreciate it. Big Dan. Main event is shit, but the whole card is solid. Better than Matchrooms. Yeah, Cash Wellborn card. But yeah, main event isn't great, but that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what we're stuck with. So we're kind of stuck with that for the time being. But look, it is what it is. I mean, I'm hoping that the next phase of fight camps will be a bit more competitive, and they will be a bit better. So, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. I think they will be a bit better, and we will get more 50-50 fights than we've had already. What's your view on Eddie working with Warren? Someone asked me this on Friday when I streamed last, and I think that it's beneficial for both, but it's more beneficial for Warren in terms of it will help keep Queensberry going, basically. But someone also said, do you think that could be a way, if Eddie Hearn let Warren in and he worked with him, do you think that would save Warren? I said, yeah, I think it'll save Warren. He said, but if you were in Eddie Hearn's position, would you not want to just get rid of Frank Warren? So not work with him and just go all in and just try and put him out of business. To me, I'm not like that, so I would say no. But Eddie Hearn, I know there's no love lost between him and Frank, so I honestly couldn't tell you. But yeah, I wouldn't rule out. But to answer your question, I don't think it'll happen at all. I'd be very, very, very surprised if it happened. But stranger things have happened. If the money was right, if it was beneficial for both guys, I'm sure if the money was probably astronomically right for Eddie Hearn, then he'd probably do it. But for now, can't see it. Can't see it. Can't see it at all. In terms of that card that Jono's on, there's no real other names on it, that are anything worth writing home about. And as I said, that's really the tipping of the iceberg with regards to Eddie Hearn and his fight camps. So he's put on, his couple of shows. They've been okay. They haven't been terrible. I think last week's show was definitely saved in part by the women's fight being so good. And it's made me kind of want to cover women's boxing a little bit more. So I'll probably end up covering a Shannon Courtney's fight, truth be told. Just because it's made me kind of just want to just to cover it a bit more alone, just to give a little bit back. In terms of, oh wow. Now here's a fight. I didn't know this fight was actually happening, people. We've got another fight announced on the Matchroom show, which is Eddie Hearn, which is actually Dillian Whyte Povetkin. So obviously we know that the fight that we were all looking forward to, which was, I can't think of the guy's name, Bacoli versus Kuzman. That's the one. So obviously we were all looking forward to that fight. Well, that fight's obviously gone. So they're going to put, I think, Fabio Wardley on. But now they've announced that Jack Cullen will face Zach Chelli. And that's confirmed now. Well, it's on BoxRec anyway, so we'll make it out what you will. Zach Chelli, he was promoted by Warren. I'm sure he was promoted by Warren. He was. Or at least he definitely fought on one of Warren's cards. And he lost last fight. And then the fight before that. Yeah, so Zach Chelli was promoted by Frank Warren at one stage. He's now fighting, what was the guy's name again? Jack Cullen. He's now fighting him on the Dillian Whyte Povetkin card. That's not a bad fight. Realistically, it's not a terrible fight. I don't hate that. It's a fight they've added. I suppose it's an all British fight. I think you should. Women's boxing is on the up. Yeah, I mean, women's boxing was something I never really paid much attention to be honest with you. And the general consensus, even to the casual fans who would be my friends, whenever a women's fight came on, they were just like, ugh, what the fuck. But now, not to say that I like women's boxing or anything like that. I don't particularly. I don't particularly enjoy it. But I can see potential in it. But they need to change a few things. They need to get smaller gloves. They need longer rounds. That will help women's boxing exponentially. Keep it, if you want to keep it 10 rounds, that's fine. But give them 3 minutes. Let them have their 3 minutes and give them some smaller gloves. Even if they're only 2 ounces smaller, just give them some smaller gloves. I think that will help. That will definitely. That's just what I think. All right. So I could be wrong about that, but that's just what I think will happen. If you give them smaller gloves, it'll definitely help. So women's boxing, it is on the up. I don't doubt that. And yeah, I'll be doing my work. I'll be covering. I'll be working on the fights this weekend. I'll probably do most of them anyway. I won't do them all, but I'll do most of them. You'll get a post-fight review for the majority of the fights. And I thought I clicked off that. We'll get a review of most of the fights, and then we'll give our 2 cents after. But yeah, definitely, I can see women's boxing being on the up, and I'm kind of looking for it. But I'm definitely curious to see Pursoon versus Taylor. I'm curious about that one. That fight I'm curious about. So I'm waiting for that one to go ahead, and we'll see what happens. In terms of Eddie Hearn's other cards, I mean, he has a fight. He's a card on in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it's not amazing. It's not amazing. You have Cecilia Burkhurst against Jessica McCaskill. Cecilia Burkhurst, I mean, yeah, she's okay. She's technically quite good. But will I cover it? Probably will, actually, to be honest with you. The morning after, because I will be covering a lot of things on Sunday morning. Like Saturday night, this going to be a busy weekend for me. And I miss these busy weekends. That's one thing I've missed during lockdown, is when we have fights taking place and fight cards, multiple fight cards. I miss all that. I miss being able to, get ready, get the laptops and all work set up, get the recording stuff and all done. And then it's like 3 days worth of recording. And I mean, like, the views it gets you, the extra subscribers it gets you, it helps out your channel so much. That's why for a lot of the time, I stay home when there are fight cards going on, as opposed to going out. Although nowadays, I'm going out a lot more, and I'm probably going to be doing that a lot more. But that doesn't mean I'm going to just give up. I'm going to work around it. I'm going to work around it. What do you think, or when do you think Joshua Buatsi will get a world title shot if he keeps winning? And Campbell versus Garcia, thoughts? They'll probably try and speed up Buatsi, because with the way things are going, they can't really afford, I don't think, to be staying around at British, domestic, European level. They'll probably try and fast track Buatsi in the coming months or the coming year or so. So I wouldn't be at all shocked to see him get a world title shot sooner rather than later. And if there's ever a time where there's a weak champion at light heavyweight, you can expect Eddie Hearn to be bidding like crazy to try and get that fight over the line if there is a weak champion. Excuse me. In terms of Campbell Garcia, I think that Ryan Garcia beats Luke Campbell. In fact, I think Ryan Garcia stops him. I think Ryan Garcia, as annoying as he is, as diva-like as he is, he does have some talent. He is talented. And I think that you put him in there against Luke Campbell, I think he'll beat Luke Campbell. I think he might even stop him. So that's my thought on that. Now, as I said, I could be wrong, but my thoughts is that Luke Campbell versus Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia beats Luke Campbell. In my opinion, I could be wrong. Luke Campbell could go in there and school Ryan Garcia for all I know. But Ryan Garcia, as annoying as he is, as diva-ish as he is, there's potential. You see some talent there with him. So I think that Garcia will do a good job. I think he'll do a good job on Luke Campbell. And I reckon Ryan Garcia will win. So that's my thoughts on that. Now, how long has this stream been going on for? Because I didn't want this stream to go on too long, because I have other stuff that I want to... Sorry, I keep clicking on the same thing twice. We're just shy of 45 minutes. So people, what I'm going to do is, unless anyone wants to ask me anything else in the chat, feel free to. But what I'll do is, I'm probably going to call it quits here, because I have some other videos that I have to get working on. And before I go, actually, I will say, for those who've seen the videos today, and they've done quite well, they did. My 2 videos I got through today, they've done quite well in terms of views, for the way things have been lately. They've done quite well. I done that on my on one of my kind of sitting room chairs. I'm going to be doing that from now on. It looked so much better than sitting on the edge of a couch. So I'm fine-tuning the setup on the channel, and I think it looks better on the chair with the lighting than it does the other end of the living room with the fucking couch. And I'm trying to cover a lot of the wires. So it definitely looks better where it is. And do you know what, right? I went back and watched some of my old videos, like really, really, really old videos. And oh my God, man, the cringiness of some of those old videos. It's not even funny. Like it literally doesn't even bear thinking about. When I look and see some of my old videos, I mean, fuck, man, the cringing is real. Like the cringing is just, it's horrible. Like I don't like looking at some of my old videos. In fact, actually, while I have you here, just before I go, I'll bring this in. Hang on a sec. I'll bring this in. There's some of these old videos I have here. They're just, and I can click on them, but there's no sound. When I look back at some of these, I'm just thinking, like, Jesus, you've come a long, long, long way since before. I mean, look at this. Look at this, 71 views, 163 views. And that to me at the time was good. You're getting 463 views on that was Big Joe was good. And it's like, fuck. When I look at some of my videos now, the viewership that they're getting, it's night and day. It's night and day the amount of more views I'm getting. It's crazy. So yeah, a little snippet of some of G-Man's old videos. Like I said, I'm going to probably call time on this stream here. And will I get another one in this week? Will I get another Let's Talk About Boxing in? I think we might. I'm not going to promise anything, but maybe Thursday. Maybe Thursday we'll get another Let's Talk About Boxing in. So people, I'm going to call it quits here. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Smash that like button because it'll really will help this live stream out. And obviously this is going to stay on the channel. There's nothing said in this live stream that I have fear of coming back to bite me. So peace, people. I'm going to call it quits here.